I've been playing a lot of xDefiant lately, and I've been absolutely loving it. But I've noticed some interactions that you should definitely try to take into account to take down the competition and pick up those win rates. Some of these you'll probably already know, but I feel like they need to be said just to improve you and your team's experience. First up is just spawn protection. I see it all too often. Players will stampede out the spawn doors at the start of a round, only to immediately get deleted by a digital cloak with a shotgun, a firebomb camping a corner, or a sniper just watching and waiting for them to step foot outside the doors. Whenever you're leaving your spawn room, whether it's at the start of the round or when checkpoints change, there's a barrier that blocks incoming damage over the door. Stand behind it, look both ways, and check for any sniper glint in the distance. This goes such a long way for letting you actually live to take the first fight, and instead of feeling bad that you got dunked immediately, you instead get to feel good for playing smart and weakening the defense on your push. Now, this does of course go both ways. When defending, you can go for those aggressive near door holds, but make sure you have cover to fall back to. The corner outside their spawn door is usually not a very safe idea. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be fun to play like a rat, but it's not very fun when they sniff you out and send you back on a marathon from the spawn room. And if you're using a sniper holding a long angle, make sure that they can't see you until after they've left their spawn protection. Something like this, not good. Something like this. Use your abilities, please. If you see a sniper, dip into cover and then re-peek, all while having your mag shield available, you f***ed up. Expect to die to it, every time. Even if you get the kill, it's important to not be building those bad habits. Abilities like mag shield, intel sensor, and hijack can all be game-winning abilities when they're used properly. There's value in every single ability in the game, so using them often will net you much more success than trying to play like it's exactly the same as Call of Duty. They're there for a reason, so make sure you're using them. Now, in my last video, I talked about how I don't really use the radar, and I've definitely changed my habits on that. You absolutely should be using your radar. Now, it's not really something that you're going to be looking at 24/7, but if you're needing to reload, or if one of your teammates just popped an intel sensor, it can be a massive help. The way I use it is if I'm doing something that's going to leave me vulnerable, like reloading or cooking a grenade, I'll look at my map and make sure that I have teammates in the areas that would cover my weaknesses. So if I'm directly in cover, I'll make sure that there's teammates to my left and right, only slightly pushed up preferably, to ensure that I have someone to either defend my flank, or if they fail that, a warning that someone might push me from that side if my teammates die. Run with your pistol out. Every time, especially if you're running from spawn. If you're low health and need to get away, it can also be really great, or even if there's just a nade that starts rolling up on you. Just swap over to your pistol and run. Here's a quick demonstration of me showing the difference between gun running speed and pistol running speed. Now obviously this will vary based on what weapon you're using, and I used an LMG to kind of emphasize the results, but it will always be the same, especially when you're running a longer distance. Now, while it can be tempting and sometimes even fun to pick up a second primary, you lose a lot of mobility by doing so. Having a faster escape option only benefits you, especially considering most primaries are going to take noticeably longer to switch to. So the practice of switching between primary weapons is often going to lose you more fights than you expect without the proper planning. On the topic of running, learn the best ways to be mobile. Now, while I don't condone excessive jump spamming mid-gunfight, and I do really hope it gets nerfed into the ground, your mobility throughout the round is very important. Don't just run in a straight line from point A to point B. Slide canceling is a very useful mechanic in this game, which can be done by sprinting, sliding, and jumping to cancel the slide. This makes you much harder to track and will greatly increase your survivability. I'm constantly slide canceling, running with at least a slight serpentine pattern, and keeping my head on a constant swivel, looking for enemies who might spot me. Once you really get a good handle on movement, you'll die a lot less, guaranteed. Devices, or grenades, as most people are going to refer to them, are incredibly valuable. Now I know it's very tempting to spam them every time you're on your way back from spawn, hoping for a lucky kill, but it's just not worth it. Always look for a useful time to throw your devices. If you're defending, proximity mines are great to hold a flank corner that attackers might try to push around you on. EMP grenades are great at shutting down mag shield users, especially if multiple are trying to play the same objective. Sticky grenades and frags can be great to clear a point off. Sticky grenades are actually the best way to deal with blitz shield players, as when it's stuck to their shield, it's a guaranteed kill. Aiming down sights is almost always the better option unless you're absolutely barrel stuffing someone. Even with shotguns, you get a slightly tighter spread when aiming down sights, which will greatly increase your lethality. Rifles are also surprisingly bad when it comes to hip firing. Even when directly next to someone, I'd still recommend trying to hone your aim to be able to track at close range while ADSing. SMGs and shotguns are the only weapons I would ever recommend hip firing with, and even still, only within about 5 to 10 feet. Now, here's a tip specifically for cooking your frag grenades. Frags have a very long fuse time on them, so you almost always want to be cooking your grenades. Whenever you have someone fairly close to you holding an angle, cook the grenade till after the third mark appears. In fact, if you're going to throw it directly at them, try to let it cook just a little longer than the third mark. If they're pretty far from you, cook it to just after the second mark. This will let it get a little bit more travel time soaring through the air. But now for the big one. I use uncooked grenade throws as a type of area denial. Let's say I back myself into a corner and I need to heal or reload. I'll throw a grenade down into the path where someone might push me through. Now what this does is it plays a mind game with them, where they don't know how long the fuse time on the grenade is, and this can buy you a few seconds. As long as your nade ends up in front of them, they're likely to pull off the push, knowing that they might die to the explosion. But if you throw it behind them, they will likely try to push you because you were already their goal, and now they have to push you just to get away from the nade. It's not a foolproof plan, but it has definitely saved my ass a few times. Look at the detailed stats on weapons when you're building a loadout. It's easy. You just go into your custom loadout edit, click on the attachments, and then you can click on View Detailed Stats. This will let you see how much value you're getting out of them, because some attachments will get a lot more value than others. Anything that gives a range increase is useless on snipers, as snipers already have the same damage at all ranges. Rate of fire mods sound nice, but when they only change your rate of fire from 600 to 605 rounds per minute, that's an increase of less than 1 bullet every 10 seconds. It's not necessarily a bad thing to put these attachments on your gun, just know that they don't really offer any actual benefit and they become more cosmetic than anything else once they get to a certain point. Now here it is, the big number 10. If you don't take anything else away from this video, take this with you. Play the objective. You can't win if you aren't meeting the conditions to do so, and playing the objective is so incredibly important. There is no mode that you can win by only trying to deathmatch it up. It feels great to have those high kill games, yes, but you can't be mad at your team if you went 30 and 10, but only have 50 objective points, while the guy with 33 deaths has 1,500. They tried their best, and it's on you to go help out however is needed. You have to adapt and play the way that your team needs you to. As great as it would be to have them adapt and play more on your level, at the end of the day, you can only control you. Not to mention, from what I have seen, you do gain ult charge just from playing the objective, so it might get you just what you need to hit that ult and take your team over the edge. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. If you haven't played the game before, I'll leave my referral link in the description, so you're free to use it just to get some extra rewards as you start the game. Let me know if there's any tips or tricks that helped you out, or even better, your own tips and tricks that you've picked up since starting to play. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and maybe I'll see you out there. Anyways, y'all have a good one.